A faulty thermometer registers 102.5 degrees Celsius if the thermometer has no zero error. What happens? What will it register at 55 degrees Celsius? That's the question. What will it register at 55 degrees Celsius? Remember, the thermometer is 40. So let's represent a situation here. The thermometer is 40. We are going to use two schematic diagrams to represent this. Alright? We are going to do that. So what we are going to do is very simple. We have to use diagrams here. The first one is this. At this point we have 0 degrees Celsius. The calibration here is going to be, we represent that calibration here with X degree Celsius, right? And then the highest point here is where instead of 100 degrees Celsius, we have 102.5. That means it's 40, 102.5 degrees Celsius. Look at it, that's the first diagram. Then the second diagram is very simple. We have a situation where the thermometer is okay. At this point, the thermometer is completely okay. It is not faulty. So here we have 0 degrees Celsius. Here we have 55 degrees Celsius. That's this. And finally, normal reading is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay? Ice point reading 0 degrees Celsius is okay. So how do we now find this? How do we find this? We equate everything. Take this becomes x over this, and we have x all over 102.5 is equal to, what do we have here? We have 55 degrees Celsius, therefore 55 over 100, we have 55 all over 100, okay? Good. So if we do this simple cross multiplication, we have x times 100, okay, all equal to 55, all right, times 102.5. Good. And finally, x is going to be, because of this, if we divide through using 100, we now have 55 degrees Celsius times 102.5 all over 100 degrees Celsius. Yes. Eventually, by the time we simplify, we'll get 30, we'll get 57, we are going to get 56.37 degrees Celsius. That's what we're going to get. 56.37 degrees Celsius. Approximately, we will have x is approximately 56.4 degrees Celsius. Good. So that's our final answer. Our final answer is 56.4 degrees Celsius. That is what this particular thermometer will read at 55 degrees Celsius. That's the value. In other words, if we now check the options given to us, we have A equals to 54.6 degrees Celsius. B, option B, is 55.0 degrees Celsius. Option D, this is option D, is 56.4 degrees Celsius. And that is exactly what we have here. Therefore, option D is exactly the correct option. The thermometer, the faulty thermometer, will have read a value of 56.4 degrees Celsius when it registered this. That's what it means. Very simple. Okay, so that is how to go about a question like this or questions like this in exam. If you have something like this, first of all, use two diagrams, two schematic diagrams to represent the information that the question contains, and then find your way through or juggle through, you will not get the right answer. So this is 55. This is 55, not something else. This is 56.37 degrees Celsius. Okay, now the next thing we're going to consider is when you do this, try to equate whatever you have at this point should be over whatever you have here, because this is the highest point. Okay, distinct point of ice is this, but it's wrong. There's some error here. Look at it. It should have been this. So we equate this. We take this over this. That's this, and then we equate whatever we have here to whatever we have here. So 55 over 100. Can you see? We are equating what we have gotten from this point to what we get from this point, and that's what we have here. And then further simplification, we make x the subject. When we do that, what happens is 100 moves to x, this moves to this side, and that is this. And eventually, we divide through. When you divide through using 100, it cancels out, x remains, and you have this. Further simplification yields 56.37 degrees Celsius, and that is it. That is it. We can equally convert this to Kelvin scale. Yes, K. We can convert it to what Kelvin scale, maybe in my next class. However, if any of the steps that I've used to solve this is not clear, put it in the comment section and I will take time to address it. I sign up this moment to prepare for the class.